Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Amazon Pharmacy presents Painful Thoughts.
I read somewhere that the average American spends 13 hours a year waiting in pharmacies for prescriptions. Clearly, I am above average. I thought being above average would feel better. Maybe I'll read some greeting cards.
Next time, use Amazon Pharmacy. We deliver. And here's to being anything but average. Amazon Pharmacy. Healthcare just got less painful.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay. And you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture.
And Kate, you just got back from Mexico. Was this like a vacation?
Yes, it was too short, and it was our own fault. We kind of made it a long weekend thing, and we could have easily spent a full week there, if not more. But it was with my husband. We met up with some friends of ours from Texas, and for just like 3 days, we ate tacos and drank fancy cocktails and walked around, and it's just so pretty, and the weather's like nice and mild. I loved it. It's probably my favorite vacation in recent memory.
Oh my gosh. No, that's super fun. Did you do anything else there? Were there any Mexican Cokes in one hand?
Oh, yeah. Every meal was accompanied by a Mexican Coke and a margarita.
Hell yeah.
Balance.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, then one day we went to go see the Aztec pyramids, which was very, very cool. Like, it's hard to even understand the scope of how old everything is around you and to be standing in it. Yeah, so that was great.
That's cool. And then, like, by any chance, did you get a BBL?
No. Candice, neither I nor my husband got a BBL in Mexico, although people do often go there for the surgery because it's cheaper. The exchange rate is very favorable, which I took full advantage of, but not for a BBL. I was thinking about this actually, though, when I was getting off the plane back in the U.S., because I was thinking about going through customs and what I would need to declare, if anything, because I never understand that at all. But it did occur to me, do you have to declare your BBL at customs if you get one?
An extremely good question, because it is an expensive new item. It's like, am I about to write Brazilian butt lift on this government paper right now? But it's also like, it's fat from your own body. So
Right. This is what was tripping me up, because it's technically nothing actually new. It's just rearranged.
Right.
And the internet, I don't know, I could not get a straight answer on this. Like, the closest guidelines are about things like intense facial plastic surgery. Like, if you're going to look different from your passport, like, do you need a new one?
Yeah. And you know what? This is a good question that was actually answered by a woman in her 50s on TikTok who went to Guadalajara and got a facelift. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Well, I did see you guys talking about this on Slack while I was gone, because I unfortunately have the disease that means you can never unplug. So I was watching this convo, but I haven't actually seen the woman nor her facelift. And I kept it that way on purpose so I can save my kind of real-time reaction for this episode.
That's so funny. You were like seeing this and you were kind of like, okay, there's a woman. She may be around me. She may have gotten a facelift. I'm aware.
I'm never not girl bossing. I'm like, okay, I won't look. I'll save it for the pod.
Yeah. And you know what? The disease where you can't fully unplug, that's the real Montezuma's revenge.
Yeah, and it's terminal. It is terminal.
There you go. Well, here's the thing. On TikTok, the reactions have been pretty positive to this woman. Her name is Michelle, and viewers have been asking questions in good faith about her experience and also praising the surgery, saying she looks 27 when, hey, let's be real, more like a 35, but a good 35.
I mean,
okay?
Which as a 32-year-old is actually very young and cherubic. But,
Absolutely.
As a 32-year-old also, I am starting to get a ton of these targeted ads for minor plastic surgery procedures like Botox and injectables. It's, not a full-on facelift, but just watch the moment I turn 33, I'll pass the threshold, and then they're going to be like, just new face, just get a new face. Because, it's never marketed as plastic surgery. It's all about, like they call it like upkeep and these little tweaks. And it's, marketed as being very, very small. And so it's everywhere in my algorithm now that I've experienced like the first early mildest signs of aging. Because again, I'm 32. I am so young.
Yes.
But it's to the point where I'm like, well, wait, do I look old and tired? Or have I just been conditioned to think I look more old and tired?
Yeah, plastic surgery used to be pretty secretive, with people like Kylie Jenner denying for years that they ever had anything done. But now it feels like people are just itching to talk about it, even name dropping the surgeon who performed their surgeries. Even Kylie herself a few weeks ago straight up said what she got where and from which surgeon in a TikTok comment.
Yeah, and, it's certainly not the biggest breaking news of the month, but it broke my side of the internet at least, because then influencers started coming out with their own version of the comment, turning it kind of into this trend where you're just upfront about how many cc's you got and who gave it to you and how much you paid for it.
Yeah, which I guess it is transparency, so that's good. But I don't necessarily feel great about it being this normalized either. Like, these influencers and the woman getting the facelift are definitely breaking the stigma, but are they solving the actual problem?
Yeah, and we're going to dive into all of this in today's episode. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll hear more about Michelle's journey, and later, we'll ask if opening up about cosmetic surgery has had any impact on how we define beauty.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game, shifting a little money here, a little there, just hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill, too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
When you hear Lululemon, you probably think of Align yoga pants, weightlessly soft, like you're wearing next to nothing. That's why you see them in class, at the grocery store, and in the park. But did you know about skirts with built-in liner shorts so you can still jump for the Frisbee? And tanks and bodysuits? With Align's iconic stretch, you won't want to take it off. And with endless style options, you don't have to. Shop in-store or online at Lululemon.com.
And we're back. So, last week I was served this video on my For You page.
Good morning. My name's Michelle. I am documenting my journey here in Guadalajara. I am down here to look more refreshed and feel more refreshed. I am 50 years old, almost 51. I've decided to get a full facelift, forehead lift, upper bluff, lower bluff, and lip lift, as well as a mini chin implant to help my profile.
Wow. Okay, she's not at all what I expected her to be.
Yeah.
She seems...
So one thing to know is that Kate has not seen any of these videos.
Yeah.
So this is a very first raw reaction.
Yeah. I think to that stigma that there is around this, you do picture a certain type of person going for plastic surgery, but this is like a very mild, just sort of regular looking, I guess, 51-year-old. And the headline I've been seeing is that she went to Guadalajara looking in her 50s, came back looking 27, But I like this introduction to her because she really answers any questions you may have based off of those first 30 seconds.
Yeah. In this video, Michelle kind of tells her whole story, which is that she is a single mom. She has 2 kids, around 17, and she is getting these procedures she just listed, not because she wants to look 20. She specifically says that. She says that she wants to look like she has slept in the last 30 years because she's lost over 100 pounds twice in her life. She has people around her who are supporting her getting these surgeries done. And at the end of the day, she is doing this for her.
And she's also very precise about who is involved. Like, similar to Kylie Jenner, she name drops her surgeon. She says which hospital she's doing it at. She picked her hotel because it's 4 blocks away from the hospital. There's a part of the video, actually, where you can hear her literally dragging her luggage on the sidewalk, which is like a sweet, funny detail because that's basically part of being as authentic to your audience as possible.
Yeah. And it feels very live. It really feels like you're walking with her to this procedure. And I don't know, this is just not something that we get a lot of when we talk about plastic surgery online. But in a way, I do think Michelle is breaking some ground here. You know, this video we just played, it's been watched more than 16 million times. And this video also serves as like the before, because 2 videos later, we see her post-op pics.
Yeah. And of course, because she's being raw and authentic, that post-op is post-op. Like, she has bandages on, swelling in her face. It's very raw.
Yeah, and she explains that she is at a recovery center healing while posting these videos, and she just keeps going. Okay, she updates us 5 days post-op, 10 days. She's been making videos about her surgeries as recently as 15 hours before this taping. And gradually, you see her also go through this recovery process. And I have to say, Kate, I know you haven't seen the reveal yet, but trust me, the results are resulting. And I think the most important part is that she says that she was happy with the way it turned out, even though she still has months to go in that recovery process.
I'm really interested in seeing what this looks like, especially after seeing the first video. And also, you know, I know how I feel like if I'm about to go get a haircut and I'm like, wow, I'm about to like change my life forever. People are going to, you know, see a whole new me when I leave, and then like 4 people total notice. But it sounds like this is like that times 1,000.
Yeah, and maybe that feeling is why her first video got so many hits, because this is the type of content where there is clearly a reveal, clearly a before and after. If you like the before, you're dying to know the after. And before we get there, you know, she's been answering questions from people in these follow-up TikToks. Things like, how much did it cost? Around 15,000 USD. Is this what you looked like when you were younger? She says no, and that's totally fine. And there was a comment I did find interesting. Someone said, with all due respect, you looked great even before the facelift. I wouldn't have done it, but if it makes you happy.
Yeah, and maybe I'm too used to reading this kind of stuff on Reddit, on like snark Reddits, but I sense a little bit of a tone in that one.
Yeah, and yet Michelle answers it gracefully while enlightening me a bit.
You know, everybody's desires or perceptions of how they look are different, right? And we all have to do what makes us happy. I definitely never felt, I guess, pretty would be the word I would say. Only because I felt like I always looked really tired and haggard and frankly pissed off. I had friends and family who said I didn't need it, but then afterwards they're like, wow, maybe you did need it, right? And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about what you need or what you don't need. It really is what you feel.
This is wild. So
yeah, this is Kate's first time seeing her post-op. What do you think?
It's not even like I would say she looks like a younger version of herself, which she also said. She looks just a bit like a different, it's just that's a different person in front of me. And not in a scary way, but I can hear it in the voice and I can see it a little bit. But yeah, it is a little bit like she drank a magic potion and took a spell and now she's something else. It's a little uncanny. But I mean, it also is like, well, I wouldn't know that was a facelift. That's, I think, what's kind of crazy. Like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, you know, she's healing and so it's like a little puffy. So like I noticed that. But I think when it's all said and done, I won't look at that person and be like person with a facelift. And then it makes me realize how many facelifts have I seen but not known about. And I guess that's what's good about documenting this. But I don't know. What about you? Do you think there's something revolutionary here? Because the fact that we're talking about Michelle, someone who's not an influencer, not famous, just a civilian, and the fact that our entire team, except for me because I was in Mexico getting my BBL,
right.
The fact that so many people got served her TikToks is fascinating.
Yeah. I think that what surprises me the most is that I'm just seeing a lot of people reacting positively to her posts and her journey. You know, scrolling through, some of the comments she's been getting are like, "This is the best facelift I've ever seen. You look like a young Amanda Bynes. Bookmarking this for when I'm 60. But I do think there is a side of TikTok that has complicated feelings about this too.
Like, usually when women get a facelift, you can still tell they're, like, older. This is, like, freaking me out because if this is where we're at right now, like, Kris Jenner already got a facelift that's, like, probably the best facelift in the game. If this is where we're at when it comes to surgery, we're going to have 50, 60, 70-year-olds walking around looking like 30-year-olds pretty soon. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like that. I don't like it.
Well, this is a testament to just how wild that transformation was, because when you pulled up this clip, I was like, is that her? Is that just her healed? But I mean, that TikTok is from a 28-year-old, and older than some people are saying Michelle now looks. And it touches on this transition period that we're in when it comes to how do we even talk about plastic surgery online right now?
Yeah. I think also the way she said it in the progressive of kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's a very common thought pattern, especially when you interact with something online you haven't seen before, but you're also processing in real time. How do I feel about this? And to me, you know how some people talk about AI and they're like, it's already here. You might as well adapt to it.
Yeah.
First off, not me.
Not me. You'll never see me doing that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, that's how I feel about plastic surgery, where it's getting more accessible, it's more affordable. More people in our regular lives are doing things like Botox or other injectables or getting full-on facelifts and more. So rather than not talk about it or hide it, it might be better for us to acknowledge it and talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Kris Jenner, that brings us back to Kylie. You know, as we mentioned at the beginning, she went viral weeks ago for telling TikTok not only that she definitely got a boob job, but the exact specifications of that boob job. And it was probably, dare I say, more impactful than her sitting courtside with Timothée Chalamet.
Exactly. And just like Michelle, what surprised me most is that people had positive responses to Kylie. And I'm dying to talk about it, but first, let's take a break. When we come back, whether talking about plastic surgery and our bodies online is a net good for society.
With a Venmo debit card, you can Venmo more than just your friends. You can use your balance in so many ways. You can Venmo everything. Need gas? You can Venmo this. How about snacks? You can Venmo that. Your favorite band's merch? You can Venmo this. Or their next show? You can Venmo that. Visit Venmo.me/debit to learn more.
You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. Venmo purchase restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hey there! If you're a regular listener who enjoys ICYMI, it would mean the world if you gave us a 5-star rating or review on Apple or Spotify. Every episode of ICYMI is different, from talking about the era of coming out videos on YouTube to taking deep dives into the drama within online fandoms. Sometimes that means our episodes can become part of those stories, resulting in negative reviews from people who aren't actually listeners of the show. That's why it's so important for the real ICYMI heads to be represented in these ratings. If that's you, it would be great if you could show us some love. All right, back to the episode. And we're back. Okay, so Candice, I'd like to quiz you. Can you tell me what Kylie Jenner's boob job comment was, like word for word? Do you have that memorized?
Okay. I'm going to do this eyes closed. Kate, can you verify my eyes are closed?
Yeah, her eyes are closed. I can confirm.
All right, here we go. 445cc, moderate profile, half under the muscle, silicone Garth Fisher, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark?
Don't forget, hope this helps, LOL, and throw in
You're
just
right.
a few more exclamation marks in
You're
between
right.
all those words, but otherwise, absolutely nailed it.
There you go. There you go. And I have to say, I am laughing at myself memorizing this because it all started with a TikToker named Rachel Leary who made a video just asking, Kylie, please share any information about your boob job if you got a boob job.
Right. Like, the way that Rachel is talking about this is very indicative of how the Kardashian family speaks or doesn't speak about their procedures. It's like just throwing it out there. Like, I know you probably won't see this, but if you're willing to share your doctor and whether you got implants, like, I know your family is cagey about this stuff. No worries if not, but it's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Kylie, scholar, all right, clearly watched the whole video. She took notes. She answers all the questions in the comments with, and let's say it together, Kate, 445cc, moderate profile, half under the muscle, silicone, Garth Fisher. Hope this helps, LOL.
I've never actually looked into, obviously I was aware of this happening. I didn't look into what those words mean because half under the muscle in and of itself makes me feel like I could faint, like thinking too hard about it. So I don't. But I mean, the real biggest shock is not that she had a boob job, but that she responded to it, that she's actively talking about it in such detail. Because in 2023, Kylie did say on their Hulu show, The Kardashians, that she did have her boobs done. She even said, and I just wish, obviously, I never got them done to begin with.
But her relationship to plastic surgery goes even further back to when, remember when she kept dodging lip filler allegations and she was just like, I'm just overlining my lips, to the point where she sold lip kits under her company, Kylie Cosmetics. Then she admits she did get lip fillers, but by then, Kylie Cosmetics was already a huge success, to the point where she's on the cover of Forbes. She sold 51% of the company to Coty for $600 million.
Yeah, like, effectively, she made millions of dollars telling people or suggesting to people that her products are the reason her lips look like that, when in reality, it's injections. And this is the case with, like, so many health things. Like, I think of, like, the Liver King was like, I'm not on steroids. This is just from raw meat. And then it's like, he admits he's on steroids. And it's just, it's disingenuous and it's dangerous. It makes me think a little bit of the Dating Guru episode that we had, where it's just like you're selling people something knowing it's not real.
Yeah. And so there's a bit of whiplash in 2025 to have Kylie be so forthcoming about her plastic surgery. We should also note that Kris Jenner had a moment this year when she said Garth Fisher did her facelift. And then as we were working on this episode, Khloe Kardashian, she shared some details about work she had done. She literally was like in an Instagram comment saying exactly what she did and who the doctor was, tagging them. Kind of amazing. So we now have 3 members of the Kardashian family coming forward, being more transparent than ever before about the work they've done. And those first 2, Kris and Kylie, clearly inspired the internet to follow, because immediately after Kylie commented that, I saw influencers on my For You page the next day coming out with their CCs and their doctors and really talking so openly about their procedures.
Yeah, maybe we can get into why this content intrigues us, because I do think there's an educational, or at the very least a curiosity element here. Our producer Vic brought up a really good point that watching Michelle's TikToks when she was in Guadalajara reminded them of, trans folks documenting their medical transitions on places like Tumblr. And if anything, the similarities in both of these videos and types of content confirm that gender-affirming care is actually a much broader, more familiar practice than, say, Republican lawmakers are aware of. If you identify as a woman and you get a boob job, what is that if not a means of affirming your gender by achieving something closer to this supposed ideal standard of female beauty?
Yeah. And I think it's also worth noting that this influx of content or interest might have to do with the fact that under this administration, women are losing more and more of our bodily autonomy. And so is it possible that getting work done is our way of reclaiming our agency in a world where our bodies are policed without us even consenting to it?
To me, like, I liken this a little bit in how I think about it to the Ozempic movement, where, you know, there's been a lot of shaming when it comes to celebrities taking Ozempic shots, but often the choice to take those weight loss drugs is due to shame from the other side, telling you your body does not look the way it should. And so I similarly think there's two ways you can take this moment of like plastic surgery transparency. You can hate the player, like Michelle, or you can hate the game and the system, like the patriarchy that causes women and femmes to feel that shame and even hate for their bodies in the first place.
Yeah. And especially in a post-Ozempic world, you know, that brings up systemic fat phobia in terms of which bodies are beautiful, which bodies are the ideal. And if you don't fit into any of those measurements, you need to change everything about yourself to fix it. And that's not even getting into the ways fat phobia ties back to racism, and specifically anti-Black racism, in terms of which bodies are the standard. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And it also like feels like you can't win. Like, is it better not to talk about it? Because talking about plastic surgery, there is an inherent shame in the way we talk about women who get work done. Like I said, I pictured a certain type of woman getting a facelift.
Right.
And, you know, some people may want to keep it private. But then if you're a public figure, you might be accused of being deceptive, like Kylie. But let's say you do get work done and you do talk about it. Then you're being maybe a bad influence. So there's shame in that, too.
Yeah. And I'm thinking as far back as like Heidi Montag, you know, from the hills, getting those 10 procedures done in 24 hours, People magazine cover. Like, that was a huge conversation 15 years ago, and it was not necessarily a positive one at all.
Yeah, I feel like for millennials and like people around that age, that Heidi Montag, the Hills moment was like a big introduction to plastic surgery culturally. Or then there's shows like Botched, which like to me kind of felt like they exclusively depicted plastic surgery as some kind of abhorrence for crazy people that they were like fixing. And so if there's shame on both ends, like what are we supposed to do?
Right.
Because the one thing I do think Michelle points to is that she's been thinking about getting this facelift for years. She did so much research. She spent so much of her time not only preparing for it, but like thinking about it and her face and what she doesn't like about it, like living with it every day. And every woman, I think, knows what it's like to think about themselves and the things they hate about their bodies like all the time. So when people get plastic surgery, it's not like a snap decision that happened when they walk into an office. There's a consultation. There's definitely an interesting Google search history.
Yeah.
Michelle had to see a cardiologist. Like, these are weighted, heavy, years-long decisions that we only really see the results of, and not that internal monologue, that persistent voice that maybe drove someone to this moment.
And how evil that voice is.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why people are talking about their surgeries now. Because in a way, talking about it is a way to release the weight of thinking about it all the time. And I can feel someone like a man responding to that and saying, why don't you just like distract yourself and like focus on your kids or your work? And to that, I would say, the way women think about ourselves and our bodies is not just about aesthetics. This is about being systemically and socially ostracized because of our body and our size and the way it impacts our life and the way we might be perceived because of it.
Yeah, or I feel like the very well-meaning response is like, no, you look great.
Right.
And it's like, no, like that's not even really what's happening. Like it's something inside, and I'm thinking about it constantly, and you're not seeing it because for the most part, men are not subjected to the same pressure. They're subjected to a different pressure, but in terms of the things I'm hyperfixating on, it's very much an internal battle. And it's also a big reason people cite using Ozempic. They just want that constant thinking about food and whether or not to eat it or not eat it, and if what they ate was bad. They just want that inner voice to stop. And, similarly, how my body looks or how I wonder it might look at any given moment is always in the back of my mind. It is always there.
Yeah. And plastic surgery can address the things we've been told are imperfect about our bodies that we couldn't change otherwise, like our nose or our jawline. And it is tempting to think that once we address those things, that voice will stop.
Yeah, I've never had any type of injectables or plastic surgery, but I can speak as someone who has lost and gained weight back and forth in my life. Whenever I'm at my quote unquote acceptable weight, which is just like a made up number in my head, my inner voice just switches from the voice that was criticizing me to lose weight to this other similar voice that's just criticizing myself, making sure I maintain that weight. Like, you know, you think the battle's over, but then it becomes all about like, oh my gosh, am I going to get this wrong? Am I going to mess this all up? Am I going to lose it all? And, you know, the conclusion that I need to come to that I know is there is that it's the case for most people that, you know, wherever you go, there you are. Unfortunately, I am still me underneath it all.
Yeah, same. And weirdly, getting the thing sometimes makes you think about it more. So this is an unending cycle of hate to shame. And nowhere in that circle is acceptance, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But also, this last many years, this era where body positivity was a real phrase people were using, not always agreeing on what it meant, but they were using it. It might be the kindest women have been to our bodies in all of history. So I guess thinking about Kylie and Michelle and the state of plastic surgery transparency online, is this a net good for society?
Well, what you're saying about like we are living in the kindest time to our bodies is such a weighty thing to think about, that, you know, these thoughts still occur to us having grown up in it. And it just is like a testament to the fact that like people being there to help change how we talk about it has not changed all the other ways those pressures show up. And it just like shows how pervasive it is. And, you know, as much as transparency about what people are doing in response to that pressure is good, I do worry that taking our embrace of plastic surgery and transparency, I worry that taking it too far ultimately implies an acceptance of that, you know, rigid, limited body standard that we're told is correct from society. Like, if we're adapting to it, are we validating it? If, you know, maybe we don't think it's correct, but we were certainly treating it as something that is unchangeable, that we can't actually change this type of body that is kind of being forced on us, when really we should be addressing that. That is the more productive way to handle this, because otherwise plastic surgery, you're kind of just playing whack-a-mole, but the real problem's still there.
Yeah. I will just say that in general, I support my friends who decide to get work done. Like, I've had friends go around the table and say exactly what they're getting done in 10, 20, 30 years. So we clearly think about this. Even if it's not now, we think about it almost sometimes in a future sense of like, when I. And so, look, I'll judge my friends for using AI, okay? ChatGPT as your therapist.
Yeah. They know how I feel.
Exactly. But you know what? I will not judge you for going to Garth Fisher. That's a real doctor, okay? And with that said, Kate, I just want to like really open up the space, make it safe. Just ask one last time. Did you get a BBL?
You know what, Candice? You are coming to New York soon, and I will let you find out when you see me.
Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Vic Whitley-Berry, Candice Lim, and me, Kate Lindsay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer. Mia Lobel is Slate's executive producer of podcasts, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or going back to 2010 and streaming I'll Do It by Heidi Montag.